Hello and welcome belatedly to the video. Just 24 hours late with the release of this video. Due to it being a busy bank holiday weekend. But in the end I managed to get two videos recorded. My prediction video and this video. But less said about my prediction video the better. So basically, welcome to the video. In this one, I will be looking, or continuing to look at every race in the 2026 Formula One World Championship. My usual routine is to list down the finishing order here, and then the top 10 in the Drivers' Championship, and then the rundown of the Constructors' Championship. And then I just say a few words about the race, not a blow-by-blow account of how the race went. Not that, certainly not with this race as well. It's impossible to remember everything that happened in this race. But just thoughts about the race, basically, and the championship and things like that. Okay, so let's dive in, shall we? Let's dive in. Race number 4. Miami. I've been to Miami once in 2001. I was actually on a holiday in Orlando. For the usual things that people go on holiday to Orlando for, and but I wanted, because I'd been a bit of a fan of Miami Vice in the 80s, the TV show, I wanted to go and say that I'd been to Miami. So with my girlfriend, we drove 3 or 4 hours down to Miami Beach, managed to park, and then hung around on the beach in jeans and t-shirt for about 3 hours. And then got back in the car and drove back 3 or 4 hours to Orlando again. But I can say I've been to Miami. Okay, so here we go. So let's do the rundown. Number 1. I am trying to think about a different pen, by the way, because I've had 1 or 2 people, request a pen change. Pen gate is continuing, basically, but at the moment I'm a little bit stuck because the pen I could go back to is one that also was disliked by a few. Second. Who was second? Norris. Yeah, I hope you're in focus. There's Piastri, then there's Russell. fantastic result by Aston Martin, 15th. Perez, Stroll, Bottas. And then we have the non-finishers, which were Hulkenberg, Lawson. Gasly and Hadjar. Okay, so championship rundown. Antonelli with 100 points. Be in focus. Russell, 83rd is Leclerc, isn't it, I believe? Yeah, Leclerc on 59. Fourth now, Norris. Hamilton starting to slip. I think he should just retire. Piastri, 43. Verstappen, 26. Bearman, 18. Sorry. Wonder why I put 18. Bearman, 17. Gasly, 16, and Lawson, 10. And up here we have Mercedes, of course. 180. And Ferrari on 110. McLaren 94. Red Bull 30. And then we have Alpine 23 and Haas 18. Still in focus, yeah. Still in focus. Okay, 7 is Racing Bull. Racing Bull. 14. Williams on 5. Audi 2, and then Cadillac on 0, but ahead of Aston Martin, also on 0. Okay, so it's definitely in focus, isn't it? I think it is. So what we've got here is fastest lap was Norris, I think. That's 3 wins for Antonelli, 1 for Russell, 4 for Mercedes. Okay, so Antonelli, he's the only driver in history, the first driver in history, as I'm sure you've all heard, to get his first 3 wins in his career at the same time as his first 3 pole positions in his career. That's incredible. I was thinking he had a pole last year, but that must have been for a sprint race. Pole win, pole win, pole win. That's amazing. I mean, yes, Russell had a little bit of bad luck in qualifying in China, and there was something else as well. I can't remember what in Japan. What was the issue in Japan? Oh, well, it was just that Antonelli was lucky with the safety car in Japan. But Antonelli had put it on pole position, and but for his slow start, Antonelli may well have been leading that race anyway. So Antonelli has definitely been quicker than Russell in certainly in the last 2 races. Japan, it's a little bit of a grey area. China, it's a little bit of a grey area. But Antonelli's definitely outperforming Russell. I still believe that Russell will win the championship. It's a bit like last year when, even though Piastri was winning races, I was saying I still think Norris is going to win the championship because Norris is the faster driver. He's just having a few issues at the moment that Piastri isn't. And that could well be the case this year as well. At the moment, I still think Russell is the faster of the two, as he should be with all his experience. And he's just had a few issues, and he didn't like the Las Vegas track. He said that beforehand. But is he looking for excuses in advance when he says he doesn't like the Las Vegas track, before the race? Anyway, I do think that Russell will win the championship. I think he'll win it relatively comfortably as well. It's a long championship. But at the moment, an unbelievable performance by Antonelli, which is why I predicted that he would win what was round 2, China. I predicted he would win the Chinese Grand Prix. That's a prediction I got all totally correct for second and third. Because even though Russell had won in Australia, Antonelli had driven so well in Australia, so much better than he had at any stage last year, that I thought, wow, I think he's going to win in China. And he did. And he hasn't stopped winning. My predictions for this race, though, were first Verstappen. It has been commented on my channel that, why would I predict Verstappen to win just because he had a good qualifying? Second on the grid, wasn't he? It wasn't just because of that. All weekend, Verstappen had been a lot quicker. And the Red Bull, or at least Verstappen in the Red Bull, seems to be back. Verstappen's happier, which means he's pulled out a gap between himself and Hadjar, which means Hadjar is jumping up and down. Hadjar keeps taking off his hat, his baseball cap, throwing it on the ground and jumping up and down in it. And it's great when you see Hadjar get angry, because he's just amusing. It's like it's sort of like Charlie Chaplin getting angry when you see Hadjar getting angry. I think Hadjar's a fantastic driver, and he's got great confidence. But it is a bit of a comedy routine when he gets angry. He got very angry, Hadjar, didn't he, when he hit the wall in this race, clipped his front left wheel. All you got to do is, on that situation, just clip it and you completely smash your suspension to pieces, just from a little tiny clip. Isn't that what Norris did in qualifying for Saudi Arabia last year? Didn't he just clip the barrier slightly on a left-hand bend? Anyway, I can't remember exactly, but yeah, see, Verstappen's now edged out ahead of Hadjar. In this race weekend, all weekend, he's gapped Hadjar, and that could just be because Verstappen's happier with the car, so he's able to show his talent more so. So that's why I predicted Verstappen to win, because he in the Red Bull, the Max and Red Bull combo, the Max Bull, basically, the Max Bull is definitely back, I would say. I know it's only one track, and he might not be as good in Canada, but in general, I think the Max Bull has made a big step forward. And Max has even said that himself. Normally Max attacks and slags off his Red Bull, even when he's winning races. But he was actually quite complimentary about the Red Bull and this weekend. So that's why I put Verstappen. And who knows what would have happened had Verstappen not had a terrible start, had all over the place at the start. He had a slow one, and then, of course, had that coming together with Leclerc, wasn't it? Now, I thought Leclerc pinched him, I have to say, and I'm surprised. I didn't hear any commentary Any of the commentators suggest that, so maybe I'm just wrong there. But it looked to me like he was pinched by Leclerc. Leclerc should have given him more room. Yes, it was Max that had the wiggle, made the mistake and had the wiggle, but he had no room. He was almost half off the track. So maybe I'm wrong, because no commentators mentioned it. But seeing as it's something positive I'm saying about Max, I just want to show that I'm not biased. You know, if I even though I'm not a fan of Max and his antics in the past, if I see something where I think Max has been the victim, I will say it. And to me, it looked like Leclerc had pinched him a bit. I'll probably get some comeback there from Leclerc fans, but that's fair, because I may well be wrong, because no commentator seemed to suggest that it was anything other than a Max mistake. But of course that dropped him down the field. He spun a 360. Now somebody else did a 360. It wasn't. Was it Leclerc that did the 360 later when he smashed into the barriers towards on the penultimate lap? Did he do a 360 then as well? I can't. There was another driver that did a 360 as well. But everybody was complimenting Max for holding onto the car with all that traffic. I would more so compliment the cars around Max. Max wasn't skillfully avoiding other cars. He was skillfully doing a 360 and then righting the car after the 360. That was skill. But he wasn't in his mind going, oh, I just got to miss that Haas. Oh, and that Williams. Yeah, he wasn't thinking that at all. He was not desperately trying to avoid the cars that were all whooshing past him. Those cars should be complimented for missing him, basically. But it was a great controlled 360 by Max, similar to Nigel Mansell at the San Marino Grand Prix in 1990, where he went to overtake Berger a bit optimistically around the outside. I can't remember what the name of the straight was and what the corner he was soon to enter, but it was down a short straight anyway. It might have been just after the Tamburello, I can't remember. And then Mansell went off the track, did a 360. He went off onto the grass and started his 360 on the grass, and then came back onto the track, finished his 360 on the track, and and corrected it to point in the right direction, all going extremely fast. That was more impressive than Max's one, has to be said. You can see that on YouTube, that clip from the 1990 San Marino Grand Prix. Wow, that was amazing. It was 1990, wasn't it? It wasn't 1989. I think it was 1990. I think it was 1990. Or was it 1989? Yeah, it was 1990, because Berger was in the McLaren. He was trying to get past Berger in the McLaren, not Berger in the Ferrari. So it was definitely 1990. But yeah, so my prescription was Verstappen, and then prediction, not prescription. Maybe I need a prescription to try and get my predictions back on track. But Verstappen, Antonelli and Leclerc. And Leclerc may well have finished third had it not gone all horribly wrong for him. Antonelli could have easily been second. I didn't predict that Norris was going to be as good in the Grand Prix. That was the big surprise for me, really. How well Norris did in the Grand Prix. Could have won it, but for pit stop strategy. So, yeah, great performance by Norris. Yeah, that first lap chaos. What sort of things happened there? There was a 360, wasn't there? Yeah. Fantastic overtaking. Now, all of the overtaking in this race, it's great. Okay, it's very similar to the first two races. I think Japan, from what I remember, it was a long time ago, but Japan was a little bit more ordinary. But this one seemed to go back to Australia and China again. Constant overtaking all the time. But, you know, is it genuine overtaking, or is it just batteries overtaking each other? You know, overcharging and overtaking each other. They did tweak the rules before the race weekend. I paid very little attention to how they had tweaked them. I know it was going to reduce clipping due to how many megajoules or something they were allowed to charge over a lap and blah, blah, blah. I deliberately zone out when all the battery chat rules and regulations are being talked about. I think it's good just to know the basics, and that is that the cars are 50% battery powered and 50% internal combustion engine powered. And they've got boost buttons, yeah, and that's it. That's all you really need to know. So, yeah, they tweaked things, but of course these tweaks have not, I didn't notice anything different, but maybe, you know, Anthony Davidson would, but I wouldn't, sort of thing. So lots and lots of overtaking, but how genuine is all that overtaking, you know? Anyway, Hadjar hit the wall, as I mentioned earlier. Terrible for him. He then, you know, took his hat off, threw it on the ground, jumped up and down on it. Gasly, then Lawson had a little lock-up into Gasly. It's that grey area, isn't it? Well, this happens quite a lot. Every year you see incidents where someone is being overtaken, or they are overtaking, one or the other, and the person on the inside has a little lock-up and ends up driving into the person on the outside. And then should they get a penalty? Should they not get a penalty? Because it's an error, but an error, a mistake. It's not deliberate, basically. And in this case, it wasn't even really an error because there was an issue with, I think it was his gearbox or something. Lawson had a problem with his car, so the stewards didn't give him a penalty. I mean, he retired shortly afterwards, but they did not give him a penalty for the next race because it was accepted that it was an issue with his car, and that's why he just jinked into Gasly. And of course, it sent Gasly spinning over. He completely turned over. It's like Max and someone else, was it Leclerc, did a sort of horizontal 360. Gasly did a vertical 360. It had everything, this race. So we had a full safety car. Then there was talk of later on, much later on, I think, because after the safety car, did much happen after the safety car? We had a change of the lead. Norris had been leading, driving very well, out-driving Piastri, although Piastri came through fantastically well from 7th, I think, on the grid to 3rd. So if they'd been, you know, side by side on the grid, who knows? But Norris did comfortably beat Piastri in the sprint race. But then again, Piastri was very good in Japan, of course, outdrove Norris in Japan. So I think that Norris and Piastri are pretty level this year, much as they were last year. Yeah, so what was I going to say? Oh yeah, there was a change of the lead just because Antonelli pitted first before Norris. Norris came out just in front of Antonelli, but of course Antonelli was on warm tyres, so Antonelli was able to just nip past, and then Antonelli just went on from there to win the race. Norris was not able to close and get him. Verstappen had a white line pit exit infringement, which he was given a 5-second penalty for after the race because they didn't have a good enough angle to check it. I thought the angle that they showed on TV was good enough, but they decided it wasn't good enough. So they had to wait till afterwards. They gave him a 5-second penalty, but it didn't drop him behind Leclerc, because Leclerc, who had finished 6th behind Verstappen, Leclerc had a 20-second penalty because of all the bumper car stuff at the end of the race, where he went off. He had an off. I think it was just worn out tyres or something triggered Leclerc's off. He's completely taken blame for it, and maybe justifiably so. I mean, they all had oldish tyres, didn't they? They all had tyres of a certain age, but he seemed to lose it spectacularly. Went into the wall. Is that when he did the 360? Was it him that did the 360? I can't remember. Anyway, that damaged Leclerc's car. He then aggressively held onto it. Now, we didn't see all of the, or I didn't anyway, all of the shortcuts. He basically supposedly drove in a straight line from there to the finish, cutting all the corners. to try and hang on to his position, which he didn't manage to because both Russell and Verstappen still got past him. So, but he couldn't go around the corners. I think he couldn't turn left or something. He could turn right, but not left, something like that. So, yeah, it wasn't deliberate cutting of corners by Leclerc. He just had a damaged car. And that close to the race, of course you're going to continue. You're not going to pull the car over. Halfway through the race, yeah, but not on the penultimate lap. I mean, we remember Lewis Hamilton winning the 2020 British Grand Prix at Silverstone with only 3 wheels, almost. So, and Russell crossed the line in a similar way, didn't he? Because he had damage to his car, and it eventually sort of like the front wing eventually collapsed and was scraping on the ground and sparks flying everywhere as he crossed the line in 4th place with Verstappen just behind him and Leclerc just behind him. So many things happened in this race. Unbelievable. But the overtaking was too easy. But I think that's just the way it is. So it's just going to be a season of lots of overtaking. Easier than it really should be. But if you make it more difficult, then sometimes it's impossible. So it's very difficult to get the line just right. They've been trying to do that for decades, trying to get overtaking just right. Make it difficult, but also easy at the same time. Or difficult, but easier. An easy form of difficult, basically. And it's just so difficult trying to do that. So, yeah, I mean, it's just the way it is. I mean, there's just... There's going to be lots of weak overtaking this year, and it'll still be fun to watch. It's very fun to watch. So I don't think they should try and do anything about it from now on. Just leave it as it is, and this will be the overtaking season, basically. Right. So whereas last year was sort of known as the qualifying season, wasn't it? So you finished where you qualified. This year is the overtaking season. Yeah, loads of it. Yeah, so I haven't got a lot more notes, actually. Well, I haven't got any more notes. Because there was overtaking left, right and centre that you couldn't really keep up with it. Colapinto, that's the one thing that I did do well with my predictions. I'll give my score on the predictions, by the way. Predictions so far this year. In the first one, I got 2 out of 3. Amazing. And then I got 3 out of 3. And then I got 0 out of 3, and then 0 out of 3 again. So that's not good. So that's just 5 out of 12. I got a little bit too confident, I think, after the first 2 races where my predictions were incredible. I mean, I had betting companies ringing me up, wanting me to set the odds. But it all fell apart in Japan and Miami. So there's luck to it, of course. I mean, it was lucky that I got those ones right up there, really. Apart from Antonelli, I really did think Antonelli was going to win in China, and he did. Colapinto, I said that Colapinto would be my standout performance outside of the podium. And he was. But then again, that wasn't particularly clever of me because Colapinto had driven well all weekend and had been faster than Gasly all weekend. So not a completely out of the blue prediction, but he held on to it. He held on to the position. He crossed the line 8th, promoted to 7th in the end. Great performance. Has Colapinto come alive? I mean, this is a difficult circuit, Las Vegas. These fast sweeping street circuits are hard. So is that going to make him relaxed? All you have to do is get your confidence back. Colapinto has talent, just like Antonelli. Antonelli had no confidence last year because he had a few bad results. After a good start to the year, he had a few bad results, and his confidence just spiraled out of control. His confidence came back in Australia because he had a good, solid 2nd place, and that led him on to 3 wins. So Colapinto should now do a lot better every race. So much of it is down to confidence. Leclerc finishes behind Hamilton, so now he's only 8 points ahead of Hamilton. But he had to only have half of his car left in order to finish below Hamilton. In fact, he crossed the line ahead of Hamilton. So Hamilton, oh, come on, Lewis. I just think he should retire. I don't think he should give up before the end of his contract. If his contract is to the end of this year, he can retire. If it's to the end of 2027, I would say keep going to the end of 2027. But it would have been certainly wrong for him to retire at the end of last year. That would have looked like he was giving up and throwing his toys out the pram and all that sort of thing. So I'm glad he didn't give up then. But it doesn't matter what Lewis does, he's always 2 or 3 tenths behind Charles, always. So you're not going to win another championship, Lewis. And the magic is gone. And I don't want to say that, because of all the drivers on the field, he's the one I want to win the championship more than anybody, because I want him to get that 8th after the injustice of 2021. I want him to get that 8th championship. The Williams did well. Well done, Williams. Well, of course, that's really bad compared to last year, but compared to this year, that's really good. Bearman, Bortoleto, Ocon. Ocon was more competitive with Bearman in this race. Lindblad was pretty much out of it, wasn't he? But did he start at the back of the grid? Remember? Didn't he? Anyway, Alonso was a bit more competitive. Perez and Bottas. I mean, Bottas was in last, but you see, it's the Aston Martins and the Cadillacs all fighting for the final 4 places every race. Yeah, Hulkenberg retired for whatever reason, I can't remember. He didn't even take part in the sprint race. I haven't mentioned the sprint race, have I? But I did mention it a little bit, but it was very boring. There was none of the overtaking that we got in this race and at other races this season. There was none of the easy overtaking. It was like a race from last year, basically, particularly with the 2 out front, the McLarens. It's a very strange sprint race. Hardly any overtaking at all with the 2 McLarens out front. It's a throwback to last year. So Antonelli, only 20 points ahead of Russell, despite winning 3 of the 4 races, and he was second in the other one. And that's because he hasn't done tremendously well in the sprint races, whereas Russell did win one of the sprint races. But yeah, you do feel, don't you, it should be more than 20 points. Hamilton already caught by Norris, and he's about to be caught and passed by Piastri, despite Piastri's failing to score in the first 2 races. And the constructors, you've got the 5th. It's all about 5th place, isn't it? That's the big sort of thing everyone looks at each year. Alpine currently holding it, 23 points. Very good compared to last year. Colapinto's, how many did he get? 6, 8, 10, 8. Was it 6 points for 7th? Colapinto. So, yeah, that definitely helped. So there you go. That's my Miami Grand Prix video. As I say, I think Russell will win the championship. Just like last year, I was saying all the way through, apart from immediately after Zandvoort, I was saying Norris is going to win the championship all the way through. Norris. And everybody else was saying, no chance, Piastri all the way. I was saying, nope, Norris. I think Russell's going to win this championship. I don't think it'll be Antonelli. I think Russell, at the moment, is the faster driver. But sometimes you can have these things where a few races on the trot, it doesn't quite go well for you, and it does for your teammate, as happened last year with Norris and Piastri. And then Norris was having problems in qualifying and wasn't getting to grips with the car, and then Piastri goes bang, 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 and wins 3 on the trot, you know. Because he hasn't got anyone else to fight against. His teammate is down the field, having messed up qualifying. Piastri didn't have anybody else to fight, so he had some easy wins last year. I'm not saying these have been easy for Antonelli. He's had other drivers to fight, not just... strangely, he hasn't fought Russell, has he? In these 3 wins, he hasn't been up against Russell at all, I don't think, from what I remember. Well, a little bit early on in this race, Russell got past him in this race early on, and then later Antonelli got back past him again, or they in the pits. They changed position in their pit stops or something. But there hasn't been any battling for a win. Basically, they haven't been like first and second fighting for the lead, I don't think. Have they? I don't think so. So, but I think Russell, he won in Canada last year. Canada is the next race. We've got a 3-week gap now because we need a rest, you know. This was supposed to be round 6, of course, and so we were supposed to be worn out from 6 races close together. So then we have a 3-week gap, but of course 2 of those races didn't happen. So we've just had a big 5-week gap. We come back from Miami, and now we've got a rest, a 3-week rest to recuperate from that one Grand Prix in the last 5 weeks. Okay, so that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you'd like to subscribe, please do so, or comment or like the video. This is just me shooting from the hip with my comments, obviously, like anybody does. So I expect a little bit of either agreement or disagreement, you know, general sort of like discourse and banter about it. So yeah, I welcome those comments. Yeah, if you'd like to subscribe, please do so, or even leave a tip on the thanks button below the video. Hit the notification button. That's the thing I always forget to say, which I'm supposed to say, aren't I? Hit the notification button, then you'll know when the video is coming, even though I've done it pretty much the same day every week for the last 5 years. And I'll see you on the very next video, whatever it may be about. Thank you, and goodbye for now.